Hey everybody, welcome back to Great Northwest Weaponry. This is Thomas, and today we're doing another versus video. It's been a long time coming. We haven't got to do one of these in a while. This is largely because of how hard it is to get ammo right now. A lot of the more common calibers that I use, 303 British, 30-06, 8mm Mauser, borderline don't exist. But I did have some 8mm Nambu and some 9mm 9x19. So we are taking a look at Nambu Type 14 versus Walther P38. And again, in lieu of the difficulty of obtaining ammo, even though I have some for these, it's not very easy to replace. I will be only taking 10 shots total through each pistol in the course of this video. We're going to do this in two phases. So we're going to start off the Nambu. I've got a piece of cardboard on the ground to lay these on, so I'm not just laying them in the dirt. So I'm going to put down the P38. But what we're going to do, got 5 rounds loaded in the magazines for this first phase, and then we're going to do a second phase. First phase, I'm going to put 5 rounds on target with each pistol, kind of give my opinions on things that I like and dislike about both of them, and then we're going to swap to a cardboard target with, I drew bullseyes on it, 2 of them, 1 for each gun, and then we're going to actually see how accurate I actually am. This first round is basically just to reacquaint myself with the trigger on these things and the sights, and just, see how I do. I'd like to get all 5 hits with both on this. We're not very far from the target, just a little over 10 yards. So, theoretically, if there's no issues, this should be 5 for 5 with each, and we're going to be mostly talking about my opinions on these. This is going to be super non-scientific. I've had people point out in the past with these versus videos that, oh, you didn't have a proper rest, you could have done this different, that different, you should be checking the velocity on bullets. This is super non-scientific. I am not that scientific of a dude. I am a little more history-oriented, and I want to see how it would have felt to use these. As such, when I shoot these guns, I usually will go one-handed, the style that they did at the time. Because I am attempting to evaluate how accurate I can be with these this time, I will be shooting two-handed with a proper firing grip. But anyway, without rambling too much, let's just go ahead and get into it. 5 rounds in each, as I said. Nambu Type 14. It's got a very light trigger, by the way. Barely clipped it on, I think, it was either the 3rd or 4th shot, but I did get hits on all 5. The Nambu, like I said, has a very light trigger. This is single action pistol, and it actually feels pretty nice. The grip could be better. the manner of how the grip is shaped on this is kind of goofy feeling, but it actually, in the end, it's really not that bad. The trigger, like I said, it actually feels nice. To remove the magazine, you must depress the button on the right side of the gun and then grab hold of the magazine and pull as the slide actually locks on the mag. So it's actually kind of tough to extract the mags on this. That is definitely a minus for the Nambu. Good feeling trigger. Recoil impulse isn't bad. The trigger is very light, which if you don't like a light trigger, then you might take issue with the Nambu. But I actually like a lighter trigger, so that does not bother me, but the stiffness of magazine extraction is definitely a problem, and Nambus also have a pretty serious tendency to have the firing pin break. Don't know if you can hear that on the video, but someone appears to be having fun out that away with possibly bump firing their rifle. Don't know. Anyway, Nambu Type 14, pros and cons. Pros, good feeling trigger, pretty simple recoil impulse. It's not very heavy, and yeah, cons, fragile firing pin, somewhat stiff magazine extraction. Now we'll swap to the P38. This thing is one of the gems of my collection. Again, we're loaded to 5 rounds. Here we go. P38 does not lock open on empty, and that is something that I actually dislike. I like it when my gun locks open. It definitely makes you know, knowing that you're empty a little easier, unless you're counting shots, which I generally do count my shots. P38 has some cool features such as the decocker, though I will say the double action trigger, the trigger pull is fairly stiff. I'm not going to dry fire this, but it's not the greatest feeling double action in the world. This is the European style heel magazine release, which I would usually put as a con, but when compared to the Nambu, it actually feels nicer than trying to pry the magazine out of the gun, as in the case of the Nambu. So recoil impulse is really not that different. The P38 is a little heavier, but it's a little bit bigger bullet. Yeah, I would say as far as trigger, advantage Nambu. Sight picture, pretty similar. Recoil impulse, pretty similar. Magazine extraction and just ease of reloading the magazines itself, advantage P38. At this distance, they're both fairly accurate. Didn't have an actual miss with any of them. I had a near miss with the Nambu where I just clipped the target, but I did hear it ring at least a little bit. We're going to go ahead and swap targets to the paper target. I'm going to reload both of these magazines to 5, and we're going to go for the next round. We're the same distance from the target for this segment here. Again, we've got 2 bullseyes drawn on this. You can kind of see, there we go. Optical illusion. Got a target down low and a target up high. So down low, we're going to do for the P38. Up high, we're going to do for the Nambu. And again, we're going to start with the Nambu. I'm going to take my time with this. I've drawn a small bullseye in the middle of both of these, and that is going to be where we are aiming. So we're going to see how well these pattern, if at all, and there definitely is room for human error here, so bear that in mind. Again, we're loaded to 5 rounds. Top target, Nambu Type 14. I don't know if you can see it here, and we will be going up closer to take a look at the end of this. I definitely did not pattern well with that, and I could have taken my time a little more, but we've got at least 1 bullet in each quadrant. I did hit all of them within the drawn target, so not terrible. Again, these guns are both, 80 plus years old, so I don't expect a lot from them. Again, there's the pry out that Nambu magazine. Not terrible though, honestly. The Nambu Type 14 gets a lot of crap, but before we go any farther, I'm going to fire the P38, then we'll take a close look at the target, and then do closing thoughts. Got a car driving by, so we'll give it a second here. It's polite to wave. So, we've got 5 shots with the Walther P38. Again, kind of lost my train of thought with that car driving by. I generally try to avoid keeping it rolling while there's a distraction in the background, but we've got 5 shots with the Walther P38. We're shooting at the bottom target. Here we go. And again, I'm going to try and take my time, aiming for center. We'll just see what happens. Had not quite a full feed there, and I kind of pinched myself when I pushed that forward. Another partial feed. There we go. From what I can see from here, the P38, and this actually does lock open, it just hasn't been opting to do so. It's an age thing, so you can see it is in fact locked open here. But I do believe I had one altogether miss with this, so take a closer look here. Okay, we got Type 14 target, P38 target. So we definitely had a miss with the P38, I think that doesn't look like a hit to me. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. It definitely seems to pattern a little closer than the Nambu does. The miss very probably was simply human error. I probably hit low because it definitely seems to be hitting low because I'm aiming right in here and all of them are in here. Not a super tight group, but definitely a little more consistent. The Nambu, these were the first two, then I think I had 1, 1, 1. Again, there is definitely a portion of human error to account for here. But if I were scoring it, I won with the Nambu because all of them are at least on target. No bullseyes with either. The P38 consistently low. So that's something that could be corrected for by simply aiming high. I don't think I could correct for that. In conclusion, between the Nambu Type 14 and Walther P38, I did better with the Nambu. And I actually, oddly, had less malfunctions of any kind, because I had none, with the Nambu than I did with the Walther. So, that being said, the Walther definitely seems like it patterns a little better. And if I were to choose one brand new, it would probably be the Walther. They're definitely better made. There's no real arguing that, though I gotta say, I'm kind of a Nambu defender here. They're not as bad as people give them credit for, and in what would be pistol range, 10 to 15 yards, it does fine. That's not a large target. That's about the area of, a human-sized target's vitals. So all of those would be kill shots at this distance. That's not really something to rag the Nambu on. And again, just bad luck probably in this particular case, but the P38, I actually had problems with it jamming. I was using different ammo the second go around because it was all that I had left versus the ammo I used the first go around, and that could play a part in it. The cycling may have been a bit off with the ammo change, so that's definitely a thing. Because with the Nambu, we're using all Steinel ammo. 8mm Nambu and Steinel ammo just makes good stuff. If you like Japanese guns, you should definitely check them out because you're going to have a hard time finding ammo anywhere otherwise. But anyway, probably run this back someday in the future. I would like to do this with combined arms, Nambu and Arisaka versus Luger and Kar 98. We'll see. It largely depends on if I can get my hands on some 8mm Mauser anytime soon. I actually have 7.7 Arisaka, but 8mm Mauser just doesn't exist right now. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video. I definitely enjoyed shooting it. It's been Tom's Great Northwest Weaponry, and we'll see you next time.